Hello students, welcome back to Tuition Masters, and today we are here with the story of village Palampur NCERT solutions for grade 9 CBSE economics. As you all know, in the last video we had done a quick revision of this chapter, and today we are going to solve the NCERT exercise. So yes, our first question is, every village in India is surveyed once in 10 years during the census, and some of the details are presented in the following format. Fill up the following based on information on Palampur. Now, this is an important question. Here they've given in such a format, but in your exams they may give you as a question in MCQs or fill in the blanks. Correct. Now, first one we have is the location. Now location, we will say that why what location will we write, because it said that Palampur is a imaginary village, right? But Palampur is a imaginary village, but it resembles a village which is present in Uttar Pradesh, western Uttar Pradesh. So we can write it as Uttar Pradesh here. Okay, so a location is Uttar Pradesh. Second one, total area of the village. Total area of the village, including cultivated and uncultivated, is 226 226 hectares is the total area. After that, for the C1 we have to write the land use. First is the cultivable land: irrigated, unirrigated, and not available for cultivation. So 26 hectares of land is unavailable for cultivation. Cultivation is not possible here, right? But irrigated is 200 hectares. 200 hectares is irrigated, and there is no unirrigated land. Why? Because everywhere there are tube wells, proper electricity facilities, right? So there is no unirrigated land. Continuation is about the facilities: education, medical, market, electricity, communication, and the nearest town. Now, first one is educational. As I had said, there are three schools in Palampur. There is one high school and two primary school. So there is one high school, and there are two primary schools in Palampur. Two primary schools and one high school. Now medical also, there is one private dispensary, and one is the healthcare. So a private dispensary, correct? There is a private dispensary, as well as there is a healthcare center, government run healthcare center, correct? I don't have space, I'll just write here health center. Okay, so this is the health center which is run by the government. Okay, now market. What is the market? Now whatever the people are doing in their farming or non-farm activities, where do they go and sell? Apart from Palampur, there are two places nearby, which is Shapur and Raiganj. Correct. In these places, they go and sell their goods. Correct. The non-farm and farm production as well. Electricity supply, there is in almost all houses. Correct. In almost all houses. So almost all houses, electricity supply is proper. Correct. Like maybe the few Dalits or Dalit families may or may not have the electricity supply, but almost in Palampur, all the houses have proper electricity supply. Communication is there through land transport. Correct, land transport is possible, and through various vehicles as well. For example, trucks, even jeeps, all these auto rickshaws, tonga walas, all of these are used for the communication through landway. Now, nearest town, Shahpur and Raiganj, will I write both? No, you will write one, which is the nearest to Palampur. So the town nearest to Palampur is Shahpur. So Palampur, the nearest town is Shahpur. So our first question is completed. Now next we have written questions. So students, so for the written questions, what will I do is I'll be explaining you the main points, and then you will try all to write your answer in your own words. Okay. So let me explain you the question. So modern farming methods require more inputs which are manufactured in industry. Do you agree? Now, yes. How can I say yes? Now when I say about modern farming methods, we had studied that modern farming methods require HYV seeds, correct? It requires HYV seeds, requires fertilizers, correct? Fertilizers, pesticides, pesticides. It even requires well irrigation also. Correct? Well irrigation system is also required. Now, when I talk about all of these things, HYV seeds, HYV seeds, high yielding variety seeds, where do I get it? Factories. It's made up in factories only, right? We get it from the market. Next, in fertilizers, pesticides, again they come from the factory. For irrigation also, the tube wells, electricity, again we use it, right? So when I say about the modern farming methods, the inputs which are there like fertilizers, pesticides, and all of these things, tractors, proper irrigation, and all of these elements are manufactured in industries only, industries or factories, correct? They are manufactured over here only, correct? So yes, we can say that yeah, modern farming methods, the inputs which are there, they are manufactured in industries. Now next question ours is, how did the spread of electricity help farmers in Palampur? Now we know that there is a well supply of electricity in Palampur, right? Electricity supply is proper. So how does it help? The first one, the main point of this is it helped in the transformation of irrigation system. It helped in the uh, transformation transformation of irrigation system. Now, how why is it done? If you remember, students, the last video I had taught you that topic, evolution of irrigation system in Palampur. So, firstly, in the in the olden time, what they used to do, the people in Palampur, they used the Persian wheel. They used the Persian wheel for what? For the irrigation purpose. They used the partial mean in the olden times. But right now, afterwards, what happened is that the government set up the tube wells, the electric run tube wells. So electric run tube wells were set up by the government, and later to it, even the some people set up the private tube wells as well. So when there was proper electricity supply, so it is easy for us to set up the tube wells, which helps in easy irrigation. So the spread of electricity helped the farmers in Palampur because it helped in the transformation of irrigation system, right? And the farmers earlier, they used the Persian wheel to draw water and do the irrigation purposes, but later government installed tube wells which run on electricity, and few people set up their private tube wells as well. So this is how electricity helped the farmers in Palampur. So now let's move towards our next question. Is it important to increase the area under irrigation? Why? Now, students, this point of view, as per I had checked it. So as per the question, we are not talking about the area of Palampur. We are talking about the whole India. Okay, so we are considering entire India, the irrigation system. So we are telling that, is it important to increase the area under irrigation for whole India, not only Palampur, and why? Now again, the answer to this is yes, we should increase the area under irrigation. Why? Now, students, we know that in India, what is the main occupation? In India, the primary activity is what? Agriculture, Correct? Agriculture is the primary activity. Now for agriculture, water is required for irrigation. Correct? But in India, there is only 40%, only 40% land in India is cultivable. Only 40% of land is cultivable land where irrigation is proper, and remaining 60%, remaining 60% of the farmers, they are dependent on monsoon. They depend on they depend on monsoon, the rain they depend on. Correct? And if there is no rain, what it results to? If there is no rainfall, so what does it results to? Major loss to the farmers. So it results in a major loss to the farmers also. So how can we frame our answer? Yes, it is important to increase the land under irrigation, because farming is the main activity and source of income in India. But only 40% of the land is cultivable, and the most of the farmers depend on monsoon for irrigation. And again, if the rainfall is less, so the farmers have to suffer major loss. Correct? So this becomes our fourth answer. Now, fifth question. Construct a table on the distribution of land among the 450 families. Now, students, I had explained in the last class as well, I mean the last video, how do we, what is the land distribution among the 450 families, right? So, let's do that. Now, we'll construct a table over here. Okay. So, I'll construct one table. Okay. We'll make two columns. First column is the land area. First is land area. In land area, we have three categories. We have three categories. And next one is number of families. Number of families. These are our two categories. Now, in land area, first one is zero, means landless. How many are landless in Palampur? There are 150 families who are landless, and out of which most of them are from the Dalits. First category. Second one, which is the second one? Which have less than 2 hectares of land. So the people who have less than 2 hectares of land, there are 240 of them. And the last category, the big and the large and the medium farmers, who have more than 2 hectares of land. More than 2 hectares are there, only 60 families are there. So this is the land distribution of landless. There are 150 families, out of which mostly they are the SCs, which are the scheduled caste, the Dalits. And less than 2 hectares are 240 families, more than 2 hectares are 60 families. So this is the distribution of land. Question 6. Why are the wages for farm laborers in Palampur less than the minimum wage? Now, we know that there are many landless laborers. Correct? There are many landless laborers in Palampur. Correct? There are many landless laborers. What are they? We just wrote it. There are 150 landless laborers. Correct? So many of them are landless and they are paid less than the minimum wage. Correct? Now, as per government, what is the minimum wage we have to give? The minimum wage is of rupees 300 per day. So the owners of the land or the large farmers have to give at least 300 rupees per day to these laborers who are working on their land. That is the minimum wage. But in Palampur, the farm laborers are getting less than that. Why is it so? Now we know that among these landless laborers, there are mostly Dalits. Correct? There are mostly Dalits. Now these Dalits, what they have? They have a high competition. They have a high competition among themselves. So as per high competition, what they do, they say that okay, we agree for the minimum wages, like less than the minimum wage. They don't even give 100 rupees, they don't even get 300, which is the minimum wage. They get less than that, and they're agreed. Why? Because there's high competition. So how do we frame our answer? There are many landless laborers in Palampur who are paid less than the minimum wages. As per government, they have set rupees 300 as the minimum wage of farm laborers per day. But as there is competition between them, so they have accepted to work in less wages also. So this is our sixth question. Next is 7. In your region, talk to two laborers. Choose either farm laborers or laborers working at construction sites. What wages do they get? Are they paid in cash or in kind? Do they get work regularly? What are they in debt? So what you do, you make four columns. First, for the what wages do they get? Next, are they paid in cash or in kind? Correct. Next is, after that, do they get work regularly? And are they in depth? So what you do, this is there's no specific answer to this question. Every student have your, it's student specific. So you can go to and talk to any two laborers, right? You can see many laborers around you. So what you do, firstly ask them what is their wage. Correct. What wages do they get? Correct. Here you will write the wages. What wages do they get? Secondly, write if they get paid in cash or in kind, which means that do they get proper money, or do they get some crops or some food items and they are given that much only. Ask them, do they get work regularly, like the employment duration. What is the employment duration? Ask that as well. That employment duration, what is the, do they like get like, does it change, or does it like it is proper periodic, how is it? And are they in debt, means that do they take any loans and anything for their survival? So this you can make and show it. It's a kind of activity you can consider. All right. Now, next one is, what are the different ways of increasing production on the same piece of land? Use examples to explain. Now, students, we know that in Palampur also, we know that problem was that land was fixed. Correct? Land was fixed. Now, but still, the people of Palampur, they increase the production. How? So we can increase our production on the same piece of land by the help of cropping multiple cropping. Example, what will I give? Example, not, no example is to be given. Our best example we have in our chapter, it is, which is Palampur. Correct. Even they are also doing multiple cropping throughout the year, right? So what they are doing, first in the rainy season, for the kharif crops, what are they growing? They are growing jawar and bajra. Correct. Jawar and bajra as in the rainy season, as the kharif crops. After that, in October to December, what they are growing? Potatoes they are growing in October to December. And in the winter season, as the what do we say, the next one, rabi crops, they are growing rice. Correct. So rice and wheat, both, like either of them, rice and wheat is grown as a rabi crop. Correct. So this is what multiple cropping is done in Palampur also. So how can we frame an answer? To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing a production, right? An example is itself Palampur, where the farmers are growing jawar and bajra during the rainy season as kharif crops, and followed by potato between October to December, and wheat, which is sown in winter season as a rabi crop. So this was our eighth answer. Question 9. Describe the work of a farmer with 1 hectare of land. Okay, now what's happening is that we have a farmer who has just 1 hectare of land. What are the things will he do? Firstly, what kind of farmer is it? He is a small farmer, correct? He is a small farmer because he has less than 2 hectares of land. He's a small farmer, correct? Now, we know that this land is small. The land is very small, just 1 hectare is there. So this means that cultivation is also small, And can they earn high profits? No. So there are no profits earned. No profits from the yield. So whatever yield they're getting, there are no profit because already they have sold less. Out of that also they will take for their home first, and if anything is remaining they will go and sell it, if anything is there. Okay, if I'm writing here, if anything is there, then they will go and sell it, right? And they will get very minimum or almost no profit from it, correct? So what's happening, they're just doing it in their home only for their home survival. Then what do? They go and take loans. They go and take loans from money lenders. When they take the loans from money lenders, what do? They charge high interest, correct? They charge high interest, and then these small farmers go in debt, correct? So this is what happens in the life of a small farmer. So how do we write our answer? A farmer with 1 hectare of land will be called a small farmer. Since the area for cultivation is small, it is not possible to get high yield and earn profits from it, right? And farmers, they will take the loan from the money lenders who charge them high interest. And the harvest from the farm has to be taken for personal use and for selling also. And the selling is almost very less and no profit is earned from it. And whatever profit is earned, the minimum profit, that is given back to the money lender, and then very very less amount of money is left with them. So this is what the small farmers they are stuck in, right? Now we studied about a small farmer. Now we have to write about medium and large farmers. How do they obtain their capital for farming, and how is it different from small farmers? This is a very interesting question. Now, large and medium. Let's say we have large and medium farmers, correct? Now, large and medium farmers, what is the first thing? They have good amount of land, like, correct? They have large land area. As they have large and land area, so what they can do is that they can cultivate more, cultivate more. So more money can be get, more yield will be there, right? And what happens is, when compared to small farmers, they have very small land, so how will they cultivate more? Now this cultivation which is done on the large land, that is surplus, in surplus amount is done, more than required, correct? So what do? They keep how much required for their home, correct, for their home, and the remaining they go and sell. And from this selling, what do? They get high profits. From the selling they get high profits. Now these high profits are then used in the savings. They save it, and then this savings is then used for the next season, used to the coming season, correct? So what's happening here? Large and medium farmers, they have large farm areas, right, from where the yield is more, but when compared to the small farmers, and usually they are left with surplus yield which is then sold in the markets and profits are made. Now these profits, what do? They either save it as a saving, or either they give it to the small farmer with high interest, right? And for the next season it becomes the capital. And small farmers, they do not have any surplus yield, and they can't make more profits also because of the farm size, it's very small. So due to high profit, they can either save it for the next season or give high interest to the small farmers. When they give high interest, so what happens, they will get more money from what they are giving to the small farmers, and by the next season they will get the money, so that becomes the capital, right? So this is 10th answer. Now, 11. On what terms did Savita get a loan from Tajpal Singh? Would Savita's condition be different if she could get a loan from the bank at a low rate of interest? Now, who's Savita, who's Tajpal and everything? No. Basically, thing was that in your story, I mean in the chapter, there was the page where they had given, case study kind of thing about Savita and Tejpal taking the loan, Savita taking a loan from Tejpal. So what happened is, Savita got a loan from Tejpal, but at high rate of interest, correct? High interest. Even what happened was, it was like 24%, 24% for 4 months. For 4 months, this was the interest charged by Tejpal. And Savita had to work also, had to work on his land. She had to work on the work as a laborer, had to work as a laborer on Tejpal's land, and she would get rupees 100 for that. Now, rupees 100, is it correct to give? No, it's not correct, because the minimum wage which is set by the government is rupees 300, but she's getting just 100 rupees, right? But when we talk about from bank, so if she would have taken from bank, what would happen is, it she won't get that much of interest, correct? It would be a low interest would be charged, correct? And even she wouldn't have to work at just rupees 100, she could pay attention to her own field also, right? She could pay attention to her field as well. So yes, how do we frame our answer here? Savita got a loan from Tajpal Singh at the rate of interest for 24% for 4 months. And also, she had to work for Tejpal as a laborer and getting 100 rupees per day, which is less than the minimum wage. The case would be very if she took loan from bank, as the rate of interest would be lesser than Tejpal, and also she could pay attention to her own field. Correct? Now, going towards 13th question, or student, the 12th question is nothing but it's just a, again, application based question, and it's optional only, so yes, we won't do that. Let's move on the 13th question. What are the non-farm active production activities taking place in your region? Make a short list. Now students, what you have to do, we know in case of Palampur, correct, in case of Palampur there were four non-farm activities. First one was dairy, correct? Second one was shopkeeper, shopkeeper. Then we had transport, correct? And the last one was small scale industries, right? Small scale industry. So these were the non-farm activities. Now what you have to do in your neighborhood, you also have to go and check what are the non-farm, like you can make at least just make five, take five non-farm activities and write about them. That's what you have to do. Okay, now the last question is, what can be done so that more non-farm production activities can be started in villages? So what can be a solution, that if the non-farm activities, it can, there are many, so how can it be increased in villages, right? What can be done? So how will we write our answer over here? So students, for the non-farm production activity like dairy and shopkeeping, then small scale industry, already what can be done? First thing is, there should be loans available, loans available at less rate of interest, correct? Less rate of interest, then it should be given, so that the small people, like who don't have that much money, can take the loans at less rate of interest, right? Secondly, there should be a good market facilities, correct? Good market facilities, so that they can go and sell in the places properly without any problem. And the last one is for the transport. So for transport also, the transport authority should take place, the transport is available easily for these people, so that they can go and share like not exchange, like sell the goods in the neighborby places and earn profits from that as well. So by these things, these are the main three things that can be done, so that non-farm production activities can be started and more promoted in the villages. So thank you students for watching today's video. I hope we have completed all the questions and you don't have any doubt. If you have, you can write down in the comment section below. And in our next session, we are going to start with our next chapters for grade 9, correct? And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Tuition Masters and hit the bell icon so that you get regular notifications. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.